clean your motherfucking belly button. Our vagina opens wide. We need to cut them hoes down weekly. A man can dump his load wherever the fuck he wants. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and Happy New Year. I feel like if I say Happy New Year, like I'm gonna jinx something, because I'm not gonna lie, like low-key I'm a little bit worried that 2021 is gonna be like 2020 but like part 2, like, you know. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk in real quiet and we're just gonna take a seat and we're gonna sit there and be on our best behavior.
Gonna walk in real fucking quietly. Don't touch nothing.
And we're just gonna chill. Okay, we're just gonna take it as it is. We're not gonna hype too much. We're not gonna make too much noise. We're just gonna real humble and quiet and appreciate 2021 for what it's about to come with, and be grateful for what 2020 left us with, because what a year. I was contemplating doing a what I got for Christmas video, but I thought it might be a bit boring. I didn't think you guys would necessarily be interested in seeing what I got for Christmas. I don't know, maybe you would, and maybe like I've completely messed this up because I should have done it, but hey ho, here we are. Let's keep it moving anyway. We are back. I wanted to kick off 2021 with another feminine hygiene video, but feminine hygiene part 2. So instead of specifying it to something sexual or something just hygienic, or I wanted to do a mixture of the two again. The last one I done, I believe I did 8 points. So this time we are probably going to do about the same. There was a lot of things I didn't touch on in the very first one, and I'm very, very grateful for everyone that watched it and everyone that found it useful. I'm grateful for everyone that commented and gave me some advice that I could learn and gave me some tips and tricks as well. We are almost on 1 million views on that, and that, like, just even to be able to say that is absolutely wild. This multiple times, feel like I found my little space and my little home and my little hub that I'm just grateful to be able to even have on YouTube. It could be 10 followers for all I care. I'm just really grateful to be able to share and talk about things that I genuinely believe in and things that I love, and be able to get some really nice advice from you guys as well. So here we are, feminine hygiene part 2. Happy fucking New Year. Tip number 1. I want to go straight into the deep end, and I say deep end, but like by now the amount of things I've talked about on this channel, this isn't really that deep. Ingrowing hairs. You can get them sometimes when you shave, but the majority of the time you get ingrowing hairs when you wear super, super tight clothing. It's okay if you're heading out and the clothing that you wear is nice and fitted, but to wear super tight underwear and super tight clothing every day is just not good for your coochie. It's not good for your poussoir. It just needs to breathe. It itches. It's very uncomfortable, and when you then have ingrowing hairs, it becomes painful. The best way that I would advise to deal with ingrowing hairs is to, 1, wet the area, whether it's shaving gel or whether it's warm water. Never be cold water, always be warm water, so it loosens up the skin so it's not as tight and not as hard. This might be a little bit painful, let me warn you babies, especially if you've got an ingrowing hair down there. Like, yo, that shit hurts. Gently exfoliate. Advice, I would also make sure you do this either in a nice warm bath or in a shower. Definitely less painful, but if you can't, then definitely make sure the area has been prepped and is nice and warm and nice and clean. You take a sterilized needle or tweezer and you just pull out the remaining bit of the hair that is now outside of where it's grown back in. Slowly and gently push the skin in like you're squeezing a spot, but not so that you're scarred or in severe agony and pain. Slowly and gently squeeze either side of it until anything that's left, i.e. the dead root of the hair, then comes out. This is something I only discovered over the Christmas period. Like, I had no idea this was even a thing. Moisturizers for your vagina. Now, I typically would just use the moisturizer that I use anyway, and then maybe I'd use something a little bit more fragrant free and put it just around the area gently. Maybe something as simple as like petroleum jelly or like Vaseline or something. I tend to like make a point of making sure that my vagina and like in between all my crevices and in between my bum and stuff is like well creamed and lotioned and moisturized. What I didn't know is that there is actually vagina moisturizers. What they do is they help increase the moisture around the vagina. They keep the pH balance and everything level. You can get vaginal ones or you can get vulval ones. So yes, you can get ones that are for the outside and ones that are for the inside. I didn't know. Now I feel like a lot of people will have heard of this cream. I feel like most people have heard of Brazilian bum bum cream. And I thought, because I was naive, and this is why I love to educate myself, that it was for the obvious, your bum. But actually no, it's actually a vagina cream, and it's really, really good and really, really helpful apparently as well. And I've ordered like a shit ton of it, because if I already moisturize down there and I can make it even softer and even smoother and just keep everything nice and healthy and balanced, like I'm gonna do that shit. If you suffer from excessive dryness of the vagina or the bum area or just anything down there, this is also supposed to really help of the skin and moisturizing and keeping all the oils and minerals and nutrients inside and outside locked in. So if you are someone that suffers with excessive dryness, this is also very, very key for you. I feel like, I swear, sometimes I say things and I'm like, I feel like it's so obvious, but do you know what? It's actually not, because I had to be taught this from a young age, and now I'm out here like trying to do the same. Clean your motherfucking belly button. Listen, clean your shit, clean your belly button. And no, it's not just because lint gets in there, which I still don't understand how people say that like lint and piece of fabric get in your belly button, because it just doesn't, that's not what happens. But what does happen is it stinks. If you have a shower every day and you just leave the water just in there and it just dries up, or you're having sex and you get a little piece of cum in your belly button, or I don't know, you use moisturizer and you're lotioning, like it starts to stink, especially if you have got a piercing. The same way that when you pierce your ears, your tongue, whatever place on your body you pierce, you have to regularly clean it. Yes, even after it's healed, you have to regularly clean it. It's the same way that it needs to be cleaned. And I don't know whether this should be a hand-in-hand one or whether I should make it a separate one, but the same goes for cleaning behind your ears, because woo, the oil and the bacteria that is sitting behind your ears, like if you rub behind your ears like this and your finger is like dirty or anything like that, there's a problem. When you have a bath and when you have a shower, you should be scrubbing behind your ears, especially as us women wear makeup and you wear things like sunglasses, you use headphones, you put hair oil in or wax or gel, whatever you put in your hair, you wash your hair, it builds up behind the ears. And I feel like sometimes people forget that that's a thing. It's not just in your ears that needs cleaning, in the same way that it's not just the exterior of your body that needs cleaning. Cleaning your belly button, clean behind your ears, because that shit starts to stink. The more that it builds up, the more bacteria that builds up, the more gunk and moisturizer and dried up water and whatever else is in those crevices builds up, the more it begins to stink. And what we don't need to be doing is spraying shitloads of perfume on ourselves and walking around thinking we smell good. And the minute someone goes to hug us or give us a kiss, which we ain't doing right now because of the Rona, you don't want to have a stinky belly button and a stinky behind the ears. Exfoliate your armpits. I know it sounds wild, but I feel like I've spoken about this in like another specific hygiene video that wasn't like a generic feminine hygiene video, but for anyone that didn't see that, we're going to talk about it again now. Exfoliate your armpits. This is really good for, one, helping prevent shaving bumps if you are someone that shaves. Obviously, like I preach about all the time, I'm someone that lasers, but waxing, shaving, anything like that, it's still good to exfoliate after the fact. It's also good because it prevents a dark surface area. Now, I know that as women, that is something that we really dislike. I feel like we constantly talk about the fact that we have dark underarms or dark in between our thighs, and exfoliating can really genuinely help. Like, it is, that's where it's at. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like you should be exfoliating your face and all of your body, especially when you're in the shower, good 2, 3, 4 times a week. Not every day, because what we're gonna need is our skin to heal, rebloom, reblossom. We don't want to just keep taking off layers and layers and layers of skin every time we exfoliate. We need it to regenerate, revitalize, so we're going to give it a day in between. But I would definitely recommend exfoliating under your armpits, and exfoliate it with something that is natural, whether it's got shea butter in it or jojoba or coconut oil, all those types of good ingredients that no matter where they are on your body, they're good for you. Like, I am someone that puts deodorant on like a freak. Like, I'm not just gonna be like, oh look, a little bit of deodorant. Like, oh, we're good now. Okay, this side. I'm gonna be there for a good few minutes just slapping on some deodorant. Contraception. I'm not gonna lie, a small part of me genuinely believes that it should be a man's responsibility to take it, because no, just hear me out. We have to carry the baby, we have to show that we are pregnant, have our whole bodies, our organs, do all of this, and oh god, double chin, oh my god, no, too much cake over Christmas. Anyway, our whole bodies, just organs get shifted, and we have to go through all of that shit. And granted, it takes two to tango, but I just feel like a man can dump his load wherever the fuck he wants, and there are no consequences for him. He's not the one that has to potentially terminate a pregnancy if they're not in the position to continue with it, go through the pregnancy if they are and have to endure 10 months worth of nausea and physical vomiting and pain and agony and potential complications, and then not to mention give birth. Like, our vagina opens wide.
Alrighty then.
Like, that shit opens so fucking wide, and a small part of me feels like it's a man's responsibility. But on that note, what I do want to say as part of these tips, when it comes to contraception, do not just feel like you can just go to the doctors, grab a pill and just start popping pills. Do not feel like plan B or the morning after pill is just like a fallback, like a go-to. I feel like way too many people rely on it. It becomes this whole idea of like, oh, don't worry, you can just nut inside of me because I can just take the morning after pill tomorrow. It is not 100% guaranteed it's going to work. First of all, you're putting yourself in a situation where you are literally taking a gamble as to whether you will or won't have a child. And no one needs to be having a baby, and a baby doesn't need to be born into an environment where they weren't sure if they wanted to have it in the first place, you know? Please, please, please go to a GP, go to your doctor, go to a nurse, go to a sexual health clinic and check what one works best for you. I have tried so many different versions of the pill and none of them agree with my body. They either trigger my migraines severely and I've ended up in hospital. They've made me excessively bleed. They've made me break out. They've made me moody, even moodier than I can be now as is. And sometimes I can be a moody bitch. They've made me really bad. And it's worth getting it checked. I mean, there are options like the coil and the implant and all different types of other things you can do. But please make sure that before you just jump on contraception just for the sake of having unprotected sex, one, you know that none of them are 100% guaranteed to work and there is still a chance of you becoming pregnant. And two, make sure that whatever one you choose is what works best for your body, is what's not going to disrupt you. Toenail hygiene. Now, we know as women, our toenails are constantly painted. Like, we won't go out with just any looking plain toenail. Like, that shit needs to be fire. It needs to either match our nails, or we're gonna go for a nice little French tip or some white nails. We love a white nail, love a white toenail, but we don't just do simple. And the downside of constantly doing that is that our nails are no longer allowed to breathe. It's the same downside as when you have acrylics done. It's the same downside as when you put weave and wigs on your hair, like your pores are not allowed to breathe. And yes, your toenails need to breathe. It sounds mad, but it is true. We need to cut them hoes down weekly, or maybe every other week if your nails don't grow that fast. But if you are getting a regular pedicure, and by regular I mean weekly or bi-weekly, then they will do it for you. But if there's a long period of time in between where you haven't got it done, it is so important to make sure you cut it down. I'll give you an example or a reason why. If you are wearing fitted shoes, or just even shoes that are your shoe size, the longer your toenail is, the more likely it is to knock against the front of the shoe, and that can sometimes cause bruising. And what we don't need is a bruised toenail, because we need them to stay pretty for the men then. Please don't use a scissors or some tools that is not supposed to be used by an everyday person and is meant to be used by a professional nail tech. Just use toenail clippers, allowing your pores to be open and bruising and breaking, and just be gentle and be kind and treat it in the same way that you treat your body when you lotion your body. I mean, granted, if you're someone that just slaps it on, then like, I don't really know what to tell you. Like, if you start slapping your shit on, then do it with your toenails. But please do not start doing that. Like, we're gonna take gentle care of them. And this is something I definitely said in my first feminine hygiene video: wash your damn feet. We need some cute nails. In the same way that you wash your hands and you look after your hands because they're on show and they're pretty, wash your feet. This is probably something that I got from being Caribbean. When taking a bath, I was raised by my grandparents who always taught me to add Dettol in my bath. Now, I'll put a picture of what Dettol is, and for those of you who don't know Dettol, I will provide some alternatives on the screen as well. But using something like Dettol, I thought that it was something that was just crazy growing up, putting Dettol in your bath, but actually it's really good when it comes to killing bacteria, especially in the bath, because you're sat there and all the bacteria can crawl in and out of your pissoir, baby. Your coochie's gonna get very infected if you're just sitting in dirt. You know, if you just sat in plain water and it's just floating around, like we don't need that. We don't do none of that. Actually kills 100 illnesses causing germs when it's diluted in bath water, but it actually also has a small amount of aloe vera in it, which is really gentle on the skin. So it might sound crazy and it might sound abrasive and it might sound like, oh my god, you're literally putting Dettol disinfectant in your bath. But yes, bitch, I is, because I want to be clean. Everything needs to get bun up and burn off and just singed, and all the bacteria needs to go. And if it is helping me, that's what I'm going to use. Please do not just pour half a tub in it. Like, what we don't need is to, one, waste some good Dettol, and two, just be stinking of it. We don't need that much. What I would recommend is, if you have like the massive bottle, just put a cap full in. I'm just gonna finish on this one because this one I've never really thought of doing, but we're just gonna say it. Do not douche. Don't douche. For those of you that don't know, douching is the idea of spraying water up your vagina to clean it out. Don't do it. It can unfortunately upset the natural balance of your pH and get rid of any good bacteria and potentially leave any bad bacteria behind. And we just don't need to do that. I know a lot of people in other countries, douching is like a regular thing after they've either taken a shit or had sex or whatever else it is, or just for women to wipe. Yeah, we don't need to be doing that. It can actually sometimes as well, depending on how you dry yourself after you've douched, spread any bacteria around. And if you're someone that is just wiping from front to back and it's all wet and whatnot, like, you don't need to be spreading it around and causing any other infection. It's almost like overdoing it and overwashing it, and we don't need that. Our vaginas already know how to keep themselves clean, so what we're gonna do is give it some respect and let it do its own job. There's probably so much more, but again, what I'll do is what I did on the last one, which is delve in deeper to each point and make separate videos about it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Happy 2021, guys. Let's start off with a bang. I hope everyone is feeling positive. I know within the UK we're in another lockdown, but that's what I have to say. Focus on what your goals are and we will still find a way to achieve them all. I just want to be here to spread love and positivity. Also, a disclaimer, I am not a doctor, a nurse, a gynecologist, a healer, anything like that. These are just my opinions. They are things I've tried or things I've been taught or things I have researched myself. So I hope that's okay. I love you guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.